today we're going to make a case for why we need a globalized, decentralized ESG rating system. I'm here to introduce Daniel, my co-founder and CTO.
Hello, everyone.
And I'm T. Ganbold, and we're here at ETH Denver 2022. So, to introduce ESG DAO to you all, to give you a bit of an idea, you've all seen the film Don't Look Up. Now is the time for us to look at ourselves. It is time for us to look at ourselves and what we're doing to our planet. Today, we can actually save ourselves from mass extinction by looking at ourselves. So, we need truth to do this. We need to take action. We can mitigate risks. We will save our planet. So our vision, imagine a world where you have an imagine you can monitor every bit of ESG data on a company. Did you know that every company right now, a third of every company, Kirk, I was telling you over brunch, is ESG rated? Imagine that, a third of every company trading on the public stock exchange. That could be every company. Guess what? A third of those companies we do not know why they are available or why they are ESG compliant. So our vision is to create a real-time view of every ESG or every company trading, every small, medium enterprise. But let's make it actually possible. But how do we do this? It's a pretty broad and it's a very audacious goal. But we can do this if we aggregate every ESG database and if we enable every company to be able to assess themselves, the health of their organization. Imagine you could today, as a company business owner, look at your environmental, social, and governance data and say, okay, here's why I'm falling behind. Here's where I can actually improve. You do not necessarily have to share that data, but what you might want to do is share that within your team, within your management, to mitigate the risks for your own business. Think about your own business. And then, once you have that, once you have that data, you can make decisions to improving your ESG score. That is how we start to make the right progress. With technologies today in Web3, we have privacy, we have got incredible developments in zero-knowledge proofs, we have got DAO technologies. We have the ability now to pull together lots of data sources and not see where it's coming from. We have the ability now to also make sure there's an aggregate view of data and to see the overall ESG view. And today we have an ability to have a governance model using DAO technologies. So let's step back for a moment. What is an ESG rating system? So an ESG rating system is an environmental, social, and governance pillar. We have made a fantastic start so far. We've got a few organizations that are already tracking the health of an organization. But we believe that it is important to start to really take the next step. It is time to actually rethink it a little bit further, take it to the next step. We can improve it. So why do we think it's broken? So the fundamental problem we believe is that it is opaque to us all. Well, the businesses we own are actually, they're the businesses we own as citizens. We put our capital into the markets. We own those businesses. We have a right to know how they're performing on the environmental and social and governance side. We need to stop for a second and say, what is every other business doing? If a third of every company in the public markets has an ESG score, what about the rest? And why, the third that is already available, how are they getting these scores? Let's think about that for a second. So, we believe the only reason why businesses will not share their ESG scoring, there are actually two categories of businesses. Number one, a business might have a fantastic ESG score, but they will not share it because it's a competitive advantage. You will be performing very well as a business from an economic standpoint if you have a high ESG score. So you might not want to share that data. It is a competitive advantage. That's camp number one. Camp number two are businesses that are greenwashing, or businesses that have something to hide, that are destroying our planet. Yes, they are destroying our planet. So what can we do if we actually create the right incentive models without revealing the data on competitive data of businesses? We do not have to share business data because that is not going to happen. It is not strategic. It's not going to, and no business will ever share their data. I will not share my own data, let alone a business, if you think about it. So we believe a few incentive models can encourage businesses to share their data. So number one, if we look at privacy first ESG rating, this is a product we've created. Imagine you can share your data. First of all, imagine you're a business. You can get an idea of the health of your business from an ESG perspective. But imagine you can say, well, finance team, let's go and make sure that our water, we use less water in that part of our supply chain. And here, that will result to more of less operating costs, therefore higher margins. Imagine that for a second. Imagine, however, if that data is private, but if you want to publicize it, if you're a large entity, if you're a small, medium enterprise, imagine if you publicize it, and then you get political, if you get, let's say, government incentives. What if you get a tax break? What if you get financial returns? What if you get the economic value from sharing that data more publicly? Number two, we believe that, and we've seen a lot of data to suggest that, there needs to be an aggregation of financial and non-financial reporting. So financial and non-financial reporting is we call it first, second, third-party data. Your third-party data is everything on the internet. Second-party data is information about your business online, but very related to you. Say your ESG or sustainability reporting that other journalists have been writing about you. Your first-party data is your business data that you have internally. You might not want to share that, but we are going to help you pull it together in the most efficient manner. And finally, there is no real-time view of our global ESG rating system of businesses. These are businesses that create the bottles that we use every day. Global commerce touches everything we do. Everything here touches the supply chain. That is global commerce. Everything that we do is run by an organization from a business. If we help businesses to change their behavior, and if we know how they're doing, but if it's private, and if there's an aggregated real-time view, without knowing exactly who's doing what, maybe we'll have an accurate reading of their health, an accurate reading of how we're doing as a global society, and to making sure we're making this progress. So, you're all thinking, why Web3? Again, let's say 2 years ago, ahead of the global pandemic, I was working on a global supply chain knowledge graph business. And actually, this is something I've been thinking about and building for years, a thesis that I've been building for years. We did not, in the global supply chain, have zero knowledge proof. We did not have the privacy-enabled technologies we have today. We did not have a governance system, which is now called the decentralized autonomous organizations. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in a second. And we also did not have the policy and financial incentives tied to the current system. So these are some of the challenges we see in the global ESG reporting efficacy. So a lot of I would say, global consultancies have been focused on and collecting a lot of data from executives to see what is the problem. Why is it not happening? And by the way, this is just one view. We think the DAO is a solution to this, to making sure we can actually fix some of these problems, whether it's a disconnection between ESG reporting and financial media. So that's a lot of data being pulled together. Secondly, a lack of real-time information. We have these technologies today, by the way. The lack of information about how a company creates long-term value, and so on and so forth. So something like this is pretty tough. Let's be very frank. I'm a realist. Daniel's a realist. And we know this is a pretty tough task. We have got the former head of China at the World Economic Forum, someone who's been looking at the international system for 15 years, someone who was at the Olympic Committee, bringing together international stakeholders, bringing together the global experts in ESG, 100 of the world's experts, to create the expert panel that makes up the Dow. Imagine, at the moment, we have a number of organizations, very large financial organizations, rating agencies, run by an executive team, a management team, people who might have good friends at large companies. Imagine we can actually incentivize, by the way, a lot of great work has gone into the SASBs, MSICs of the world. We want to actually pull them together with the experts, the academics who've been at the World Economic Forum, who go there every year, who create these reports, to come together, but the academics and the experts to be paid by the Dow. So the governance structure of the Dow is critical because we are going to pay the experts who know the data, who work every single day with the data, who know the challenges, and who have been looking and reading the reports to create such a system. But to give you an idea of the actual product, we don't believe that we need to recreate anything. Let's not try to do this. Let's create, has anyone used a Skyscanner? Have you guys used Skyscanner? You know a Skyscanner, you go and you see all the different flights and you get a recommendation engine and you can pick which one works for you. Imagine you as a business leader have a Skyscanner for all the different ESG rating systems. Then the pricing's available. Then you also get all the consultancies that provide certain auditing services. I would, if I were a business leader, whether I'm an owner or an executive, I'd look on this platform called ESG Rate. I would pick the best price, the highly rated service and product, and I would pick one just to check the health of my organization. To check, we check the health of our bodies. I think it's the same. We can apply that to our own businesses because I'll give you one case study. This is one of my greatest case studies. So I've read the history of one of the largest industrial companies in America. This company went from 500 million to 20 billion. I don't want to reveal the name, but this family had one crisis. They had an environmental crisis that has haunted them from a PR perspective their entire, let's say, for over 15 years. Imagine you can mitigate those risks by analyzing that data, by knowing internally. Get your teams to look at the health of your organization. Make sure that you do. But again, you don't have to share it with everyone. Until you're ready, until you want the tax incentives, until you want the financial incentives, you don't have to share it. But it is important for you to get the health. And it is important for all of us to get the health in a transparent way to see how we're all doing. How is the health of our society, which is largely run by companies? And we all know that. So let's create, again, we have guidance today, we do. So let's work with incumbents, and very happy to work with incumbents. Let's create a transparent process. So here's the key, a transparent process in this. And let's create a private yet independent global rating agency to monitor the health of businesses today, because it is critical to saving all of us, literally all of us here today. So we believe the validators of this data needs to be global, it needs to be independent, and we need businesses to earn our trust today. So if you look at the market of ESGs, did you know Did you know that this is global? Most very sophisticated economies have an ESG market. A lot of people probably did not know that, and a lot of people do not know by 2025, every company, actually a third of the companies in the stock exchange, if we look at the same forecasting, will be worth 53 trillion. Think about the scale of that. How large is the crypto economy right now? 2.9 billion. How large is the ESG market in 2025? 53 trillion. That is a third of commerce. That is a lot. So let's think about the impact here. And again, this is tied to economic incentives. We are, after all, in Web3, we all look at incentive models. We have VCs sitting here. We have economists sitting here. We have academics. We have business people. We have scientists. We need to look at the data. The data clearly says your business's health economically will do well if you have a higher ESG scoring. So imagine a world. Let's take a large e-commerce platform. Imagine you're Amazon and you have an ESG score rating system alongside your e-commerce products. Imagine the companies that you list have a 5-star rating. I bet you that recommendation engine that Amazon is very good at will sell more products. And guess what? If we pull those products up and if we sell more sustainable goods, we are going to transform our society because there are businesses who are trying to source the right goods, that are trying to make sure there is no child labor. They're doing the work. They have the data. Let's pull those businesses up by using technology because we have those products today. Let's just pull it together. That's literally what Daniel and I and the team have in mind. So going back to our business model, we have the incumbents, we have all the ESG rating systems out there already, we have the data providers, we have the Web3 ESG rating projects that are about to rise. Guess what? Let's pull them together. Let's make this available to every business. Why should we not even be rating Web3 companies? Think about it. If we could, we were speaking to Ryan at Masari. Ryan, imagine we could have an overlay and look at the health of Web3 companies, and we can sustainably grow as an ecosystem. Let's not go fast and break things. Let's actually try to think about it, but in a quantitative way. Let's measure it. Let's think about it as a leadership team and organizations. So that's where we play. We actually bring all the pieces together. So the greatest case study for this is MakerDAO. So Daniel and I actually happened to be sitting with the MakerDAO team this morning, and we verified the numbers. Guess what? Do you know how profitable a decentralized banking system that we have today is? Let's read out the numbers. 100 million a year. 4.5 billion on assets on the balance sheet. It is the most efficient bank in the world. It is the most transparent bank in the world right now. Its banking processes are transparent. It is completely transparent. You can see everything they're doing. It is also a very small, and it is a team that works in a distributed way. It is changing the game. But guess what? User data is private. We also asked them this morning, did we not?
We did.
We asked them this morning, and they said they do not know who is using MakerDAO's. They don't know their customers. Why should they? Why should we know anyone's data? Why should we know any individual's data? Why should we know any business data? We shouldn't. But we should have efficient processes, and we should have transparent processes and have more efficient businesses today. So if you look at the market size for those who are investors and those who are in finance, it's a $2.5 billion industry. But if you look at the total addressable market, it is 140 trillion. That is the total addressable market for the industry. So let's say our ESG ecosystem roadmap. We're here today at ETH Denver, February 2022, and we're talking quite publicly about the ESG DAO. We are, by June 2022, when we give a talk at Consensus, we're going to announce our initial, the people we're inviting as the DAO initial community members. These will be global experts, 100 of those that know and have been studying this every single day. Not Daniel, not I, but the experts. And we are going to, that's tier 1. Tier 2, 50% will be those with a voice, those who can influence, make change. Imagine you're Elon Musk sitting there. Imagine you're Leonardo DiCaprio and Matt Damon. Leonardo DiCaprio just created a film saying, "Don't look up." I mean, this is highly, highly relevant. Elon Musk, you're doing fantastic things. Matt Damon, with your water initiatives, let's pull together resources. Let's make sure we incentivize our experts to oversee and govern this. It really requires the experts to. And then we have our ESG community submitting proposals, and then we will start to look at the rating system. Of course, these timelines are variable, disclaimer. So the team, that's Daniel, you can see over there. He's very spacey, and that's actually, we worked on the asteroid mining deal. Kirk is sitting in the audience. We all worked on the planetary resources deal at Consensus 5 years ago. That's how Daniel and I know each other. Dave Park, he comes from finance, he comes from Wall Street. He knows and understands the challenges of financial data, and he also understands why these rating companies exist. So we really want to work in partnership as crypto native individuals. We want to work in partnership with the financial services industry. And our CPO is also from Wall Street initially. Then he was a lawyer. Then he became a graph database guy. Imagine that. And he also is very good at design. He actually designed this. So Ishan, he's our CRO. He's looking at, after speaking, I need to go and have a nap, he'll be going doing the mingling. That's Ishan. So I just want to say thank you to everyone, and we really, again, to wrap up, it is time for us all to help our businesses, the businesses we support, the businesses we buy from, understand the health of their organizations from an environmental, social, and governance perspective. Let's make sure that the businesses that we're buying from, that we invest in, they align with the values in which we all believe. Let's make sure that they're moving in the right direction. But guess what? We can vote with our investment. We can vote with how much we buy. So let's start the process, but let's also do it in partnership. We do not need to ignore our history. Let's work all together to make this happen. So thank you very much.